build my gallows and build them high. Makes a long time climbing before I die. I want the chance to spit in his eye. Well, they gave me bars, but I can see between to a dusty yard and a long gone green. They call that freedom, if you know what I mean. And I drown my sorrows, but the whiskey's gone. I'm sober as good.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Longbangers. This is episode 110. Matty, I've got John, Craig, and Colin on with me tonight. John, how are you doing?
Aye, no bad. I've just about emerged from my shame spiral on Sunday when I meant to say low-hanging fruit to Colin and I ended up saying low-hanging fish for some reason. Oh no, sorry, low-flying fish. Absolutely no idea what it was I was trying to say.
I just let him go, but I wasn't going to say anything about it.
I thought you maybe hadn't heard me. I was like, I just can't appreciate that. But then my adopted dad's sitting next to me was pissing himself. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Low-flying fish.
But low-flying fish, aye. Fuck knows.
Was this at the game? Was it?
He was right behind me.
Oh, so I was saying to Colin. So I'd originally been wherever I was, away on the left of the east stand towards the away end, and my mate or my adopted dad, he had a ticket further in. So obviously you do what you do. You send the text message like, "Where are you sitting? Any seats next to you?" Blah blah blah. So I went up, and on the way over, I saw my cousin. I saw Fattest Prickus of Twitter. And then as I've sat down next to my adopted dad, there's Colin sitting there. I thought, well, maybe fucking social distancing for these guys. Gotta get away from them.
And this would have been your first proper meeting then, would it? The first time you met face to face?
I went to the game last week. I drove you to fucking Motherwell last Sunday.
Fuck, so we did, eh?
Jesus, man.
Tell you what, old age doesn't come at spell, eh? Craig, how you doing?
Oh, aye.
Look at that. Look at that beauty. Jamie Murphy
Oh, you gotta
you.
see my hands. I'm happy. I'm happy, mate. Aye, good. Looking forward for this one.
Aye, me too. And Colin, what about you? How you doing?
I'm good, mate. Just looking at picking off some low-flying fish tonight in the fish trap.
I should really start off the podcast with a thank you to a couple of folk, right? So there was a ballot for tickets last week, right? We all had different experiences with the ballot, and actually that's maybe something we could talk about tonight, is just that whole fucking process. But I didn't get a ticket in the ballot, and what day was it? Friday all day I'm sitting refreshing and I'm looking on Hibs.net and I'm looking on the bounce, and you see folks saying I've got a ticket now, and it was getting later and later and folk were still getting them, and you still had that wee bit of fucking open, and the tweet coming from Hibs saying, if you've not got one now, you're not getting one. And my wee heart sank. I was like, fuck, no got a ticket. That's one of those moments. I tell you, it's one of these things. You see, what working at home is you're got folk around you all the time, right? We've not got like the biggest of houses, right? So Jane and I both work in the kitchen, so we're with each other 24/7, and I'll go drive Josh up to various parts of Fife for his coaching, and Jane will chum us along. But I was kind of quite looking forward, and not any badness, but looking forward to just having, because my dad wasn't going and Josh wasn't going, so it would have been a couple of hours just to myself, which never happens. Just like a wee bit of time for just to switch off and watch the game. So when I couldn't get a ticket, I was like, oh fuck. But then I got a message on Twitter. Somebody's obviously seen that post about it, John Cameron. So I'll say, first of all, thank you to John Cameron, because John messaged and said, I got a ticket in the ballot, but I've been the last couple of times. You can have it if you want. And I said, no, listen, I wouldn't take a ticket off you. You go to it. If it's a spare one, granted, I'll take it. But if no, you have it. And then there's a wee bit back and forward. Anyway, he couldn't make it, so I got his ticket, which was brand new. And then on Sunday morning, Catriona Twig messaged me and said, "Is somebody still looking for a ticket? Because I can't go now." And there's a guy over from America, John, who's at Lemaxter on Twitter, who is the guy who offered to buy a season ticket for somebody. Do you remember, before the season started? He'd got in touch to say, if you can anybody that can't go but would have a season ticket, I'll buy it for them. He was over for the game, and so he made this. I ended up sitting with him. I met him and sat with him for the game. So thanks to the folk for the generosity. And actually, a couple other folk had got in touch with tickets as well, which is brand new. I think, Paul, you got a couple for
I got
Hibs.net as well.
Hibs.net, aye. So thanks to him. And if I can, as I've said to him, if I can do him a favour back, to let me know within fucking reason.
Aye, within reason.
Aye,
We'll get
I was
carried away,
amazed. I was amazed at the amount of tickets that were flying about actually after the ballot. Because you think, why are we in the ballot? All these folk that can't go. But I know things come up and all that. But it seemed quite a lot were available on Sunday morning and that.
Do you think it's the fear of
the
missing out?
message
Do you know when it's like a ballot, folk go, fuck, I've got to go in for it.
it wasn't
Think about
compulsory,
it.
guys.
Aye.
It wasn't compulsory to enter. You know what I mean? And I get like I think one of yours you said there was a train strike or something. That's why they couldn't
Aye.
come make it through or
That's
something. So I
right.
get that. Didn't realise the train strike was on. All of that, but I just thought quite a lot of tickets available considering the that you had to enter to go, and it was short notice enter. It wasn't like
Aye.
when was it, Monday or something? Had to put our name in. I can't remember, but Monday and you'll get told on Thursday, and by Saturday you can't make it. So I just thought it was a bit funny, but aye, it was. Didn't get me started on the ballot process.
No. But it was much appreciated anyway. I know, certainly speaking for John that was sitting beside, he was buzzing because he's obviously come over. He stays in California and been over. Didn't think he was going to be able to take in the games, so to then be able to do it, and obviously the performance that the team put in, it was good. A really, really good afternoon, and it's down to the kindness of folks. So much appreciated. Anyway, that's what I wanted to open with. So the game itself, Craig, you said you were itching to talk about it. Talk about it. You took notes. What do you want to say about the game?
Do you know what?
Can't read my handwriting.
Yeah. I was pissed. It doesn't make sense. No, funnily enough, I've even separated them, right? So, like, for somebody who's just walked into Longbangers for the first time, we never take notes or do anything. Well, John might, but nobody else does. Right? We don't do any sort of note taking, anything like that, right? And I don't know. I was just sat watching the game, and I thought, do you know what? I'll do it today, and I'm happy I have, because I've separated it into two little bits, and I've got about 25 lines for the first half and 2 for the second. First half, unbelievable. I can't, I've actually got down here, the first thing I put down, believe it or not, is Paul McGinn's first pass poor. Right? Because having not taken notes, I think Paul took the ball in his own kind of defensive corner and gave it away straight away. And the next thing I've got is it was a good intensity to the game from both sides, actually. I think we both went for it. And I think that's probably why I've put the Paul McGinn thing down, because I was, that kind of instinctive first thought. I'm thinking, oh no, please don't be tired. You know what I mean? That kind of lackadaisical passing. But as I'm sure we'll go into it. In fact, no, do you know what I've got in big, bold fucking writing third before we move on? Ross County, Peyton, I think it was, should be fucking sent off. Smashes Jake Doyle-Hayes, and then goes on and pulls back Murphy almost instantaneously. So I'll pass you over to what you thought of that, because I thought that should have been, if not a straight red, an almost instantaneous double yellow.
Aye, John, what was your take on that incident?
I've seen Jake the challenge on Jake Doyle-Hayes mentioned, but I thought it was the tripod that had been wiped out. Was that down in the bottom right hand side?
Right early doors, it was Jake Doyle-Hayes. It was the tripod got taken out later on.
I've maybe just completely forgotten.
But early on in the game, because actually it was early enough. It
must have been about a minute in.
No, I do vaguely remember it now. I remember Jake Doyle-Hayes getting up afterwards and sort of limping about for a wee bit. But
have you seen his thigh?
No.
Because that's what he was doing. He was limping, but it was showing the referee.
Yeah, honestly, that's the bit I remember.
His thigh is looks like a bear's been at it. There's no other way of describing it. He's absolutely cleaned about it. Literally, it wasn't even a touch of the ball. His first touch was a player, and it was at 300 miles an hour, blind. Idiot, should have been sent off.
It was mental. It wasn't even a card. The referee just fucking went, bash on it, and it was your early. You have you get away with one early doors. We've talked about it on the podcast before. You as well go in with a wee bit of foul early doors because the referee will book you for it. But that one was so bad that even that rule shouldn't have applied. The referee should have still been going, at least that's a yellow card. Didn't even do that again in the rest of the game.
I don't know if this is the green tinted specs, but from the couple of games that I've watched so far, I think teams are coming to Hibs knowing that they're going to have a real difficult game because we're a good team, and I don't know if it's the managers or the teams, but I think they're coming in saying, right, show them that we're not going to give them an easy time here. Because I think the past few games, there's been some, obviously, we'll get on to Boyle, but Boyle's been kicked about the park every single game, like for the full 90 minutes as well. It's not even like there's a few challenges here or there. It's constant. But I think that like the past few games, that there's been a few early challenges that have been tough, and we've been saying this. We've been saying, oh, they've been getting away with it because it's early doors. When are the referees going to pull the cards out? How many? Like, it doesn't matter what time of the game it is. If it's a card, it's a card. The thing with that challenge is it's not one of these where it's reckless, but it's not
like dangerous.
Yeah,
I can't mean the rule.
Yeah,
there's wording that changes it, isn't there?
Yeah, and I think to give some people the benefit of the doubt, maybe like at the beginning of a game, you're not like your brain's not as fast, or your body's not as fast as your brain, or whatever. Like, you're not quite into it yet. But that was a horrendous challenge, and like, it's up to the referees to start protecting play. And it's not just obviously we talk about Hibs, so we're talking about Hibs, but anybody watching that from any team would be thinking, surely that's a card. It's just dangerous.
Even if you take it from the point of view that it's that first challenge in the game, and there's almost like an acceptance amongst supporters that someone might get away with that because it's so early in the game. There's no excuse for the tackle on Dougie Tripod after that, or Jamie Murphy later on, which were equally reds. Like, there could have been legitimately 3 red cards. I think myself and the people around me were really surprised that the referee didn't even pull out a card for that first one, because it was a shocker.
But that comes back to I wrote that down in my notes, about playing the ref.
Aye.
Because if the referee's letting you away with it, then it's giving you carte blanche to carry on, or maybe even going a wee bit harder every time, because he said that it's okay.
Aye.
And that's why they need to get the card out early doors. It's all about the team going, well, or their team saying, okay, he's letting us do it, let's do it.
Aye.
It's the only way we can bring them to our level.
Am I right in saying that Daniel Mackay got booked after, only seconds after coming on? Or am I confusing that with another game?
I think you're confusing it with another game. He didn't get booked when he came on. No.
Never mind. Move on.
That was the European game.
Yeah,
I'm sure that was his first involvement.
A sub can get booked.
Aye, because different rules for the sub.
It's still like different rules for an Old Firm game. That's what they always say when you watch it as well. Well, the referee's done well there because it's an Old Firm game. All right, but it's still a foul, eh?
Actually,
I used
to. Hibs never picked up a booking at the weekend. There you go. I'm talking shite.
That's a surprise, because normally this is where I usually lose my shit about referees. Is that'll go on, and then Joe Newell will fucking moan at the referee, a bit of back chat, and the yellow card will come straight out, or people will take a bit too long with a goal kick or whatever.
There was one yesterday after 2 or 3 of the tackles that somebody did put a tackle in the midfield, and I thought, he's got to book him here.
Aye, you'll be the first one.
You got him right in the face.
Cliff White said that on Hibs TV, actually. He was like, because almost instantaneously, him and Tam McManus were like the referee, I know it's early, but the referee needs to pull a card out here because like it's getting out of hand already. And then they were saying, they were like, what's the bets that the first yellow card's a Hibs player after their first challenge? And it wasn't even that bad.
It was almost a stick on for a bit. Fair play to the referee. He never did it. I think he maybe just had forgot his cards in the dressing room in the first half. And it's like maybe going to go for it. I went, fuck, I've made a tit of this. So then they did that again. Right, next one, you're on a card. Because there were 2
subs he booked.
That's mental.
Ken, what really, 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 apart from the inconsistent application of the rules, one thing that really fucks me off about referees is the theatrics and the sign language. Like, you've all seen the one where the referee comes up, gives the player a stern talking to, and goes, "No more."
Or points like you've got for the persistent fouling, points to 5 or 6 points to the pitch. Aye, wankers.
Do you reckon there's a little bit of referees? Hibs are good at the moment, eh? And we've looked good. Like from the beginning of the game. Do you reckon there's a little bit of the referees that, like, when a team comes up against Hibs and they think, oh, they're going to have a bad day at the day because this team will run all over them, so I'll give them a wee bit of
like a sympathy vote?
Aye, like, because like I don't know if that's just because it's green tinted specs, but like I watch it sometimes and I think, if that was us fouling them, 100% he'd give it to us, and maybe it's just because we're giving them a wee bit of the runaround. But
You do wonder, eh? I've had that before when I played. It was rugby I played, but we were like fairly high up the leagues, and we were playing a team way down in the cup. Again, we were hammering them. The league hadn't started. It was a cup game. It was like our last pre-season game before the league started, and we were about 50, 60 points up. And the referee says to the captain, "Well, we just call the shot." It was raining and that. Well, we just call the shot. And the captain says, "No, we're running through a few sort of again like the set piece stuff in that for first league game next season." The referee just started letting them fucking like forward pass it, kind of all the basics, and the captain just went, whoa, 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 if you're going to fucking do it, just blow the whistle. And so there's maybe something in it, but I'm talking amateur level rugby compared to
just like a
professional level
subconscious
football.
thing.
You'd like to think no, but
I played a game of football in the Edinburgh Finance League, and anyone that's ever played will remember the boy called Brian Latto, and he was refereeing a game that I was helping out a mate in. And I think our team were like 3-4-0 up early doors, and he pulled an attack hours back, and he said it was offside. And we spoke to him just after he blew the whistle. He's like, "You're going to batter this team," so I needed to pull it back to make it a bit more even.
He was famous for it. Like I ken the name just about as soon as you said it. I was like, I ken roughly the story you're going to tell, because he was
everyone will
renowned
have a story about him.
for it. Right, Hibs back. Enough about the referee. Hibs, that first half performance. Colin, come to you. As good a 45 minutes as we've put in for a while, or
it felt
would
like
you
it. But
disagree?
then, no, I think we've had a few like we've had a few performances where we've been 2-3 up at half time. I think over the last couple of seasons, but the football we were playing, that formation really suits the players. I think, even though it's one up front, I know there's a bit. I've seen debate: should it be one up front or two up front? Sort of old school sort of argument, but I think having the one up front, it brings more attacking players into the team. I think it really suits us, and especially with the likes of the quality of Murphy and the pace and quality of Boyle. I think it could have been 5 or 6 at half time, and Nisbet Doidge put one past the post after Newell, that brilliant bit of play for Newell, and he put him through. Murphy got one, just the boy nicked it away for a corner. They're the two clear ones I remember anyway. I think there's more, but they were just outstanding in the first half. Some of the football, the first half hour, until they went 3-0 up, but it was almost like they went, "That'll do. We're playing on Thursday again."
Aye.
And kind of eased off a wee bit. Probably rightly, but it was. I would have loved it to have carried on. When you go 3-0 up early like that, you're thinking, "Oh, I could get 6 or 7 here," but I really enjoyed it. I predicted 3-0 last week though, so I'm happy to say I was right.
Did you put any money on it?
No. Because if I'd put money on it, it wouldn't have been 3-0.
No,
that's how it works, isn't it?
Aye.
It'd have been 5 or 6.
John, what did you like about the first half performance?
It was just brilliant, wasn't it? It was when you reflect on last season, as much as we talked up Hibs, I know that there was a couple of occasions when you started talking about, like, we took the piss out of it a wee bit last week about coming from behind, and we talked about the number of times that Hibs took the lead and they just saw out the game. And I think there was certainly from me, there was a little bit of a desire to see Hibs go out and just get the first goal, like really take the game by the scruff of the neck, go out, get the first goal and see it out. And they did that. They did that massively. And I think, like Colin said, there's been a wee bit of, I think there's been a deliberate move to start playing with the formation that we have. And I think, Colin, you were talking beforehand that there's the possibility of playing two different teams, but in the same formation. I think the only constant in the two teams is the centre halves.
So I think really, yeah.
So I think there's been a very deliberate move towards playing in that formation, which perhaps we didn't get to see last year because the plans were in place to start moving towards it this season. We're starting to see, it's early doors obviously, but we're starting to see the fruits of that. And even if you get the opportunity, I'd have a watch of BBC Sport Scotland's Twitter feed, because they cover very, very briefly, I think it's maybe a 2-minute video of Hibs goals at the weekend, and there's one of them, I think it's the second goal. Oh no, sorry, it's the opening goal, and there was 18 passes left and right, up and down the pitch. And I think I mentioned this last week when we were at the Motherwell game, that some of that stuff you miss when you're at the football because you're just engrossed in it. You're engrossed in individual player movements. I was even saying to Colin, like, just being able to see from our vantage point the way that players were hitting the ball and the way that the ball was moving. I was just in awe of that at times to completely overlook the 18 pass move that led to Hibs opening goal.
Well, funny you should say that, because I wrote down in between. So first thing I've got Paul McGinn puts a lovely ball, first ball out to Martin Boyle, puts a great ball in, should be a tap in. The next thing I've got down is Hibs look shook at any ball into the box. This was just prior to the goal. Like any ball
for our defence,
any ball that came into the box that wasn't on the deck, whether it be like waist height, head height, we looked.
They were putting good balls in though. I think they were whipping them in. We were kind of floaty, kind of like the floaty ones, and and it was noticeable. I thought that the ones they had were actually looking dangerous, where other ones were a bit like goalie come and catch it when you're on time.
But then I've not watched the sports scene yet. I've not watched the highlights of it. But for the goal, which is the next thing I've got to, and I've put Jake Doyle-Hayes' unbelievable movement deep, that basically leads to the goal, and I've put good passing movement. I think Jake Doyle-Hayes plays that kind of deep midfield role, like at least that day he looked immense. He was always on to like the centre backs or the keeper or whoever, be like, I want it. He's always moving. So like if they're sat there static, he's making runs left, right, up and down, but he's always coming deep and he's like, I want it, and I just want to give it forward, in any way possible. And I just think that whole movement, I never wrote it down, but I might be right in saying I don't know. I think he might actually nicked it off a Ross County player.
To start the move, you mean?
I think so. I might be wrong there, but I think he did nick it and then basically took him out the game, controlled it, as you say, 18 pass movement, and then obviously it leads to the goal. The goal's a bit fortunate, isn't it? Like, you know what I mean? But
if you don't shoot, you don't score.
Exactly. No, exactly. I was about to say that Martin Boyle's obviously on form and it breeds confidence, and he didn't even think twice about it. You know what I mean? So sometimes a lot goes for you, sometimes it goes against. I was going to say that compared to the European game the other night, I think it was an overall better performance than the European night. But I don't think it's as by much as what you would think. I think literally the difference is the chances that we took, we were clinical and the ball went in.
It's a really good point, because actually I was about to raise that, like the consistency performance. How often have we seen it for a Hibs team where you have a good game and then the next, especially if it's against a team like Ross County, who are now, with the greatest of respect to them, they're not one of the big guns in the league. And so you come off the back of like a big night like Thursday, where it's a better standard of opposition than we're maybe used to, although it didn't maybe look like that on the night. But then you go into the weekend's game and things are a wee bit flat, or maybe a wee bit slow to get going. But they just took that level of performance, which had been shown against Motherwell, taken into the Rijeka game, and then right away into Sunday's game against Ross County. We were just like, they were at it. It was. We were speaking to Greg McEwen this morning, John, and he'd mentioned about a shift in mentality that Jack Ross has brought, where he's not happy with like draws and defeats. Not that any manager's happy with defeats, but they felt there was a wee bit of an acceptance before that it was okay to draw a game, because we're Hibs, like you're not going to win them all, and they're trying to drive that attitude away. On Sunday, I thought we looked like a team who were desperate for 3 points. That we were going to go play at a high tempo, good attacking football, and just control the game. And we absolutely fucking blew Ross County away that first half.
That first half, I don't know. I think I texted you, and I don't know how you felt, because you were at the game. But even I was sat in a cabin down south on my Todd, watching it on a computer screen with these stupid headphones on, which are the most comfortable things in the world. And I had goosebumps. Like every time we got the ball, I was like a wee kid again. I was just excited. I was like, oh, this is class. Every time we went forward, it looked like we could have scored. How many chances? Like, I've not even got all the chances that we missed down here, like, you know what I mean? Because I was just so engrossed in it, and I don't like, and that's from watching it on a computer screen. So I can only imagine what it was like in the ground, especially with sitting with I never realised that he was sat with the American boy. He must have been loving it. He must have been like, thank God I've picked Hibs.
Craig, do you use those headphones when you're hunting Russian submarines as well?
That's no bad job. No.
No. Americans. So the goal, so we had Boyle's goal, and then the second goal was McGuinness header. And again, there's a lot going on in this goal. You've got Murphy taking the ball in, holding up just enough time for Dougie Tripod to hit the byline, stands the cross up, and then McGuinness has made the run into the box. Great header into the far post. Who wants to talk about that? Like, where do you start with a goal like that?
Well,
I might start
me and John
filling my
spoke about
plonker.
Aye, we spoke about half time, and I think Doig and Murphy doing that left hand side were they linked up brilliantly. And that one there, it was Murphy was dropping deeper to let Doig run past him, and that seemed to be creating a few things. I actually thought it was going to run out. Doig got to get the byline to chip it up, but it was just I don't know if it was a change of dynamic or what. They seem to have a man down over there. I don't know what their formation was or anything, but they seem to be like they were always 2-on-1. They two.
Yeah. Do you know what it was? I've got it written down here. I've got Murphy, great run. What he done was he basically he does this thing. I don't know how he does it. You talk about how he glides, right?
Aye.
He doesn't look like the fastest player on earth, right? And he does the same thing almost every time. He kind of jogs up to a player with the ball, taps it kind of in front of them,
inviting someone to jump in,
and then just goes every single time. And I mean, it's like they fall for it. But he took out two players. He took out two players. He was running at the right back after they took them two out, and then you think, oh, he's kind of lost it a wee bit, and kicked it away to Dougie Tripod. As you say, he done great to get the ball, and it's a great ball in. People keep saying, oh, it's an easy header, that. It's easy because it's uncontested.
Mm-hmm.
But to put it where he put it, that's no again.
Yeah.
That's confidence, especially for a midfielder.
There's a picture that Hibs have tweeted out the day they've got. I think it's like their head of the week they've called it. And when you see the way that Kyle McGuinness is up in the air and the neck muscles are straining to direct it into the opposite corner, like like you say, it's an easy header because it's uncontested, but it's not an easy header to direct it the way that he's directed it.
Yep.
The Murphy's performance column was outstanding. And the BBC showed a graphic on Sports Scene on Sunday evening. We talk about Boyle and how important a player Boyle is for us. When Murphy's on form, so I think there was 38% of the attacks went down Murphy's side and 43% down Boyle's side. So not much in it. It's pretty even spread. The rest of them went through the middle. If you're trying to make out how that was in 100,
Good
see the thought bubbles going there. How important, Colin, is Murphy going to be this season if he stays fit?
I think he's got quality, and he brings us something different because he can that dribbling that Craig's described. If he doesn't really have a player, Boyle kicks it past somebody and beats them with pace. Murphy's beating them with in the head, isn't he? It's no like the old Terry Sheringham thing. You know, he's got a yard, beats them with a yard, and he's in the brain sort of thing. And it looks like that with Murphy. Again, it's the thought and the and the abilities. I hope he keeps fit because I think he's quite. There's other boys that can play there, but I don't think any of them are as got the quality he's got. So I think he's looking really good. And it's the same with McGuinness, isn't it? The two of them last year were in and out injuries all the time, and I think now we're starting to see what Jack Ross or the recruitment guys, all of them as a team saw to bring them into the club.
I think if you're an opposing manager, right, and I mean I'm no tactician, we've talked about this before plenty of times, and you're looking at Hibs, right, Martin Boyle, he's getting kicked off the park every week, and we've talked about it, and we're going to be talking about it, because it's just going to keep happening. I would guess as a manager, you're going to be like, right, defensive wise, keep on Boyle. He's rapid, trying. But if you've got Murphy on the other side at the same time, that's got to be an absolute nightmare. Because you can't
double up and all that.
You can't pick one, can you? You know what I mean? Because if the team are kind of try to focus on not getting caught out by Boyle's pace, then it's given Murphy more chance to get. It's a great place for Hibs to be in.
Aye,
nightmare for other managers.
And things we've got Muller to come in from America. He can play anywhere across the front three, and he's quick as well, quick and direct. Daniel Mackay, again, I think he's still not quite showing yet because it's early days in his Hibs career, but he's got a bit of growing to go into the Hibs.
I think he needs a goal. He needs a goal,
But he's got 2 goals already. He scored against Arsenal and he
Yeah.
scored against
He's got European goals to his name.
St. Columba.
Yeah, but I don't know, because like you're looking at that one-on-one, aren't you? At the end, you're looking at the one-on-one at the end, and you're thinking that's probably knocked his confidence a bit in front of the home crowd in the league where it matters. You know, a goal, and I think he just needs to kind of settle, and as you say, he's a great addition.
And Murphy had a role in the 3rd goal as well. He kind of drove across the box and then squared it to McGinn. McGinn takes a touch to get the ball at his feet, cross it in, and then Doidge, another cracking header as well. And I don't think he was favourite to get that ball, as it was Swigni's kind of come in between 2 defenders, I think, and won the header. Colin, you've mentioned Doidge goes in the streaks, you know, like a scoring streak.
Oh yes, they call him the streak. Sorry.
I kind of did I need to edit that bit out? Oh, what happened there?
Leave it.
It's got an advert.
An advert. Doidge, 2 goals, 2 games in the league. This kind of dream start from. I was going to give you one of the obvious questions. You know, like the interviewer ones. You must be delighted with that. But what did you think of Doidge's all-round play as well? I was going to say I thought Doidge was absolutely fucking fantastic on
His touch was
Sunday.
excellent. It was, and it's good that he's got a couple, because we're probably looking at him scoring into September now, and then it'll be maybe Christmas. He'll no score again till. So let's make the most of it over the next sort of 6 weeks or so. But he was excellent yesterday's touch and all that. Him and Nisbet have been really impressive up front on their own. I know that they seem to be good as a partnership, and they've scored goals when the Doidges came off the bench as well, when they went to Moria too. But I quite like this formation, and they're both good enough footballers, I think, to play that up there on their own. Especially when you've got boys like Murphy and that. Well, he wasn't even on the bench.
I forgot he wasn't even part of the team. But I agreed with you, Matty. After Quick Bang, I think it was. I thought Doidge was my man of the match.
I thought he was outstanding. There was a couple of moments in the game where he was like either scrapping for the ball. Like first half, I think there was one night early doors where he wins the ball in the corner on the east hand side, slides in, wins the ball. There's a wee touch to shimmy past the boy, then lays it off, and we get like I can't remember if that move broke down or if we created an attack from it. But he was just a nuisance. There were a couple of times where I think there was one where he kind of was running onto the ball and healed it, like over his head to run onto it.
Yeah.
That was one of the things I was going to pick out from his performance against, I think it was Santa Coloma, but also for the weekend there, is that you don't often associate, or at least I don't associate Christian Doidge with close control or deft touches. It's usually in the box, maybe one touch bang, back of the net hopefully, or a header. But there was the wee touch that he took against Santa Coloma where he sort of lifted it over the boy's head and collected it on the other end. It was almost like a back to front nutmeg. You know how a nutmeg, you have to put it through the boy's legs, collect it on the other side for it to be an official nutmeg. Well, what do you call lifting the ball over someone's head?
An upside down nutmeg rather than a back to front one.
Upside down, back to front, potato. But he was doing the same on Sunday there. So there was a chance, like we mentioned, first half where Joe Newell's played him in, and he's almost sort of done a pirouette in the box to get the shot on the left foot, and it's gone out for a corner or whatever. But there was, I think, second half as well. Again, Joe Newell's played him in, and he's just been unlucky with that one as well. So I don't know. It can't be something that he's added to his game. Like, it must be something that he's always been capable of. But I wonder if the way that Hibs are playing now allows him to do that a little bit more. Maybe he's got a little bit more to aim for. Mm-hmm. You know, he has to take that touch to try and bring someone else into the game to try and move the ball further up the pitch.
I think he's done it since he came out. Just that he doesn't really get the credit for it, but there's been loads of times he does like a wee touch to take it past somebody, or what he's good for doing is almost no touching the ball and letting folk go past him. It's like he makes the play it, and then they'll commit, and he just then kind of goes in a different direction and uses that to create a bit of space for himself. I thought he was excellent.
See on the silly questions. Sorry, mate. See on the silly questions. Did you hear the Celtic manager? I'm not talking about Hibs, but the Celtic manager answering some of his questions. They said they just rubbish the journalists. No in a smug Strachan style way, but it's in a sort of Australian way, because he said something like, the journalist said, Andrew, you're repeating quite a lot of your answers you're giving us. And they just went, repeating a lot of the questions. Because what they do, they just try and ask the same fucking question in a different way. Another one was something about they sign somebody and they says your pace, he's got pace and directness and all that. does that fit into the way your style of play that you plan on playing?
Fucking hell.
That's why I fucking signed him. Like that was
Aye.
that's why I signed him.
I signed him to be slow, to be
No, it's like,
pedestrian.
these fucking Scottish journalists are absolutely unreal. Like, and he's just there rubbishing them. But of course, that'll mean they'll want him forced out because he's making them look stupid. So they'll write bad headlines about him as soon as
Aye,
there's a few games.
they'll
Are you
get stuck in.
saying? Are you saying that he's the Meghan Markle of Scottish football?
Aye.
I
Yes.
think he can say pretty much anything he wants though, because Rangers are charging what 25 grand to
Aye,
Jonos
for
into the
to
ground or
get
something.
access, mental.
Aye. Can be Meghan Markle? Imagine if he married somebody in the royal family as a Celtic manager.
Oh.
That's not going to go down well.
Aye, well, hang on. Their chairman, what was his name? Oh God, what was his name? Was he not? Who was the one that was in the? Was he sitting in the House of Lords?
I think they had a Tory on the board, didn't
John,
they? So,
there was the ex-Home Secretary, wasn't it? John Reid or something? No.
I think it was Reid.
Sounds about right,
Aye. That's right. Aye, they weren't happy about that, were they?
Oh. And they forgot about it when they started
Aye.
winning. It's only when they started losing it became an issue.
That's how
again.
it works. That's
Aye.
how it works.
They weren't unhappy enough to start launching steel barriers anyway.
That. Second half, bit of a non-event really. One of the things that old man actually brought it up on quick bangs. He thought it was an exercise in keeping a clean sheet. Again, that's a game one. Just make sure let's see if we can defend the lead because we've been leaking a couple of goals. Think there's merit in that argument, or do you think it was just a case the players were a wee bit tired from Thursday night and so just took the foot off the gas a bit?
I definitely mentioned this to my mate at the game, and I said to him, if you're Malky Mackay, what are you saying to your players at half time? Like, you're
No, did he say that
one? But since then, I think I mentioned this to you this morning, Matty. The conversation, like, flip that question on its head. If you're Jack Ross, the position that Hibs are in at that stage, what is the conversation you're having with the Hibs team at that point, given everything that's going on?
Well, I think you do. You go and say the game's won. Let's just make sure it stays comfortable. Didn't do anything stupid that means we're going to have to keep everybody on the pitch for 90 minutes because we want to rest folk ahead of Thursday and be fresh. I think it's a wee opportunity to try in a game environment to try and keep a clean sheet and do like that sort of exercise.
I've got a feeling that we
possession game. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, Colin, I'm sure that we had a conversation about this before about taking the opportunity in pre-season games to try out different things, to maybe try out different defensive lineups or different attacking moves or whatever. And I wonder if we had that opportunity on yesterday. It's today Monday.
Today's Monday. It was yesterday. It feels like it was. I keep wanting to say it was Saturday that the game was, but just yesterday.
Was it no Graham Matthew that said the youth team were going to do that with Rangers? They were going to ping the ball into their centre halves, and they were then in the second half going to do something to help us. But we're not going to do that in a Premier League game, Rob. Malky, go and ping a few balls in. Let's see how Ryan and that go with it. You just go get yourself a fuck yeah, whatever he wants to call you.
I watched both managers' post-match interviews with Sky, and I think Malky Mackay pretty much admitted he was like, we knew the game was over in the first half. I wanted the boys to come out to shore up and basically, don't make it embarrassing, and if we can nick anything we can, like, you know what I mean? But so if I was Jack Ross, I'd probably be expecting them to be like, right, they're going to come out and try and not concede anymore. Let's just be safe in the sense that if they get one goal, they get their hopes up a wee bit, and we might have to go chasing to try and keep them out. The only things I've got written down for the second half was McGuinness, his pressing, like the whole second half was unbelievable. He was just everywhere. And the other thing I put down was that is it Charles Cook, their winger. I thought he was really good.
He was the best player. I thought
he was really, really good, and I think that was probably one of the kind of good defensive things, because sometimes these games just peter out and they're boring, and it was kind of boring second half. I'll give you that. Like, there was a few chances here and there, but I think the defence, especially up our right hand side, got a good run in for him. Because Paul McGinn was coming under a wee bit of kind of stick. I thought he had quite a decent game, but obviously from the previous game, and I think that was quite good for him, because that boy did look decent, I thought.
Aye, one of the things that John that was sitting beside me mentioned was that Malky Mackay looked like an American conspiracy theorist called Alex Jones. I don't know if he's heard of this guy. He does
I know
like
who Alex Jones is.
Infowars or something. This is it was first I was aware of Infowars, but didn't ken the guy. So as John was kind of telling me, go and look up on your phone. So I had a look, and I was like, it does look a bit like him, especially as he was kind of wearing the suit with the shirt that was unbuttoned too much and everything, came with a big fucking tan. And it made me think, right, and it's a question I'll ask you, is what do you think is the wackiest conspiracy theory that Malky Mackay is likely to come out with?
That birds aren't real.
Would it be bad to say Black Lives Matter?
Well, there was there was a picture of it. I think it was Neil Renton tweeted it. He says, "There's not something you didn't see Malky Mackay standing beside a Black Lives Matter sign, because obviously it's on the back of the dugout." He was standing for. But he wished he could just put it all behind him, Malky Mackay.
Oh, aye.
Like, and they get cancelled because it's fucking bring it up all the time. And
I know.
What was the job that he got at the? In fact, I've accidentally just stumbled upon it now.
Was it Scottish FA for a couple of
Scottish
years?
FA
Aye.
performance director role.
Aye.
Dear me.
aye. Anyway, if anybody's got any suggestions about Malky Mackay's best conspiracy theories are, text them in 80295. And they'll read out the best ones, probably.
He does look like Alex Jones.
He does, though. He does that. So it was a great shout. For a wee while, I was like, I wonder what Malky Mackay would be like. Birds on the Reel, that's quite a good shout. Or if I could just sit in. Can you imagine in the dressing room, halfway through a team talk, and another thing, COVID. Hoax. It's a fucking hoax. Players are going, oh no, this again. I just want to, who am I meant to be fucking marking for the free kicks, boss? That's all what I can.
If you get the opportunity, there's a podcast called Behind the Bastards, and there's a 3-part episode on Alex Jones, and I urge everyone to go and watch it. Listen to it. It's fucking outstanding.
Right, some comments or talking points from Twitter for listeners. So Robert Nevison, he says, early days, but how does McGuinness, Newell and JDH compares a 3 to McGeoch, McGinn and Allen?
Well, first of all, it's been 7 hours and 15 days since you took your love away.
Colin, that's the song Nothing Compares to You. Remember Sinead O'Connor? Did you get that? Did they get the reference? You said that look at me.
It's a tough room, eh?
No, I was just
John mentioned that he might do this earlier on WhatsApp, and I did like loads of laughing emojis because to make it like, be funny at Ken and finger that keep it.
That's fine. Fuck you.
See when you said there, Matty, Colin, you've got that look about you, and we're talking about Sinead O'Connor. I thought you were saying you look like Sinead O'Connor.
and I'm greeting.
It's one of these sad moments. Doyle, Hayes, McGuinness and Newell versus McGinn, McGeoch and Allen. I think there's potential there. I don't think it's how do you get to the level John McGinn, because he was really the exceptional one out of it. But
you signed St Mirren players.
That's true. But there's potential there. The way they've started the season, and it's got that kind of balance about it. That was what worked for McGinn, McGeoch and Allen, is they had a bit of everything.
Well, we said it last week about the holding midfielder thing. Hey, we've not got one again. Doyle Hayes is doing that. McGeoch got the job. I think somebody said that on Quick Bang last night, didn't they? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Was it Dave maybe?
I think so.
And he's right. That's the kind of role he's doing. Is sweeping up, picking it up, making himself available, sitting deeper, but no like a Marvin Bartley or a Matty Jack or whoever you want to say.
Gogic.
But I think when Gogic is, because I think I said last week, I'm not against Gogic, but I think when he's there, we get caught in these mere scraps than we do when there's a sort of footballing defensive midfielder there rather than a defender. So I'd see that. I didn't see Newell as Scott Allen, although he did play a couple of nice passes yesterday. But I think there's a bit of different dynamic there. I think Newell does a bit more work maybe than Scott Allen, but doesn't he then have that final ball that is often?
I've said it on this podcast before, and I'm going to say it again. Scott Allen, as much as he's a lovely player, and he is, I mean, I can't say he's not, he's brilliant. Defensively, I think he lacks. I think in the challenge, he's normally either quite late or he seems like he's about 7 foot in a challenge. You know that way where like there's just legs everywhere, but nowhere near the ball.
Aye.
Like I don't get it, and maybe that's the reason why Newell's keeping him out at the moment. Because I think Newell definitely does the kind of the defensive side of things a lot better. However, on the flip side of that, I think Allen's definitely much more the flair player, and he can pick that pass, and I love watching him.
And Scott Allen at his best had John McGinn doing the work of two men.
Yeah.
I think
Aye.
here, didn't he?
Aye.
So if Scott Allen's playing, he needs somebody else in there to pick up at least half his workload to give him that time and space, I think.
That's odd.
If you get the workload that you're lacking for Scott Allen, but you get the passes from Scott Allen and Kyle McGuinness, Scott Allen's really struggling to get in the team. He's really going to have to up his work rate.
Yeah.
It's a good dilemma to have, because when you bring Allen on, you change the dynamic in the midfield, and you're looking at him and then go and create something. I think we instinctively become a bit more attacking when Scott Allen comes on, because they'll try and find them. So it's good. It's a good balance to have, a good option to have off the bench. And we were talking about it when you mentioned that you can pick two teams for Hibs now, and no significantly weaken either one. I mean, there'll definitely be one that's stronger than another, but no by a huge amount. And if Scott Allen's your backup, you're doing all right.
Why? What time was Scott Allen brought on during the game?
It was about 70 or maybe even later. I'll tell you
Craig,
now.
You were taking notes, Craig.
Yeah, the second half I was
79 minutes.
79 minutes.
I thought you could have come on earlier. Like
that's what I was thinking. I was thinking with the game coming up and all that. Why didn't he change him earlier? That kind of makes me think, and I hope it's not true, that because he came on with another thing on his arm, didn't he? I don't know if you've seen that. He had I don't know if it's for his diabetes or for the issue that he had with his heart rhythm or whatever it was. I can't remember what it was he had.
I don't know.
But I don't know if maybe, because you would have thought that you would have brought him on earlier, have been comfortable 3-0 up. So do you reckon maybe there was been a wee niggle, or maybe a wee kind of fitness issue or something in the background? Or
I think if that was the case, would they?
This time I don't think there was anything in that. I think it was maybe just. I kind of think Jack Ross wants to get the fitness levels right up. And he definitely wanted to protect players, but you want to have players who are, we're still early in the season, so they're still getting up to that sort of peak. So I think for his first choice, he wanted to keep them on the pitch as much as possible. Paul Morton said Callahan should have walked for the foul on JDH in the early minutes.
Yep.
Was that Callahan as well that done that one?
Well, see, I thought it was Callahan.
Craig's note was saying it was Payton.
Payton, but I thought it was Callahan.
I'm going to say that either Tam McManus or Cliff has said Payton, and I've just written it down. It's their fucking fault, not mine.
Right, we'll take that. Callahan, did he have curtains going on, by the way? I kind of thought, like, if anyone's watching this and see my hair, I've got a fucking brass neck slagging anybody, but did Callahan have 90s curtains? It seemed to look like he did.
I can't remember.
And if so, that coupled being a Hearts bastard, should that have been an automatic red card in itself?
Aye. Do you mind the referee that sent off the Hearts player for having, was it an earring?
Oh, aye.
That's the kind of send I'm off. I'm looking for
a herring.
Really.
Aye.
Just imagine how long Longbangers would be that night. 3 hours of absolute nonsense.
Neil Renton said, "Is Martin Boyle the best player out with the Old Firm?"
He'd be right up there. He maybe even within the Old Firm. I mean, is he? Who's better? Who's Celtic got that's better than him?
Again, I mean, the thing with Boyle, you look at his Jack Ross reference that his numbers, like the managers not going to be players' numbers now, but they refer to basically the stats, number of assists and goals that Boyle puts in. He's like when he plays, we play. Do you know, he's that good. He's like sort of our talisman at the moment. I kind of talks about Nisbet and young Josh Roy gets the plaudits because this club's interested in him. I'm amazed that there's no loads of money getting chucked at Martin Boyle. I think it's fucking mental. You watch Hibs and you go, he causes every team we play trouble. There's no team that gets an easy game off him, unless St Johnson. They're the only ones that seem to be able to fucking cope with him. But other than that, he just runs riot, and he was taking 2 or 3 players on at a time on Sunday. I think who's better than him, and he's not the best player in the league, but he can't be a kicking arse off it.
Is Ryan Christie there? Is Celtic's kind of equivalent? I don't really know the Celtic
Well,
team.
Forest would
James
be at
Forrest
Celtic
there.
Forest
or
maybe.
Kent at Rangers. But
Aye,
I think Kent's fucking vastly overrated anyway when he was shite against Dundee United.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, last year I had a look at Kmart Roof and the number of goals that he'd scored and how much Rangers had paid for him. And Kevin Nisbet had performed as well. And no one was talking about Kevin Nisbet in the same sort of price figure. So I'd be really interested to compare Kent's Scottish Premiership and Cup competition figures compared to Martin Boyle's, because Ryan Kent, I think they signed for like 7 million.
7 million, aye.
I was worried about Nisbet being out this game. Actually, I missed Longbangers for the previous game, but I thought in that previous game, Kevin Nisbet has got one of the best touches I think in football that I've seen at Hibs. I don't know if that's just me kind of being a bit of a fanboy, but every ball that comes into that boy, he puts it into a space where he's just got all the time in the world. And he tends to make the right decisions. It's just, he's one of these people that I just hope that we can keep a hold of, because let's just think about it. Right, Boyle, like he's been possibly one of, if not the star man of the team so far this season. Kevin Nisbet has been class. Doidge has been really, really good. In fact, that game there, I thought he was man of the match. Jamie Murphy, if we can keep him fit, unreal. We've spoke about the midfield three. We've got Allen on the bench for if we need to pick open a defence or something along those lines. If we're struggling in the midfield and we need somebody to go in and batter them, we've got Gogic. I like Hanlon. I also like Dougie Tripod, who it seems to be that we're keeping now. I like Porteous. He seems to have ironed out quite a lot of his mistakes for last season, I think. So far. It's early doors, but I think he's kind of
tell you what I thought about Porteous, seeing him up close. He's grown. Like he's built. He's obviously spent a lot of time in the gym. He looked really imposing. I think on Sunday, aye.
As you say, we've got Mueller coming in. We can't really say anything on him because obviously he's not been here. And the club are still looking at bringing in a defender at least, and somebody up front, or that's who they want at least anyway.
Still got Cadden come back as well. Cadden's a quality player.
Yeah.
How and Daniel Mackay. We've got those couple of the young boys. What's his name? Young boy that played against Arsenal at the post.
Campbell.
Aye, he looks. How good are Hibs looking at the moment?
Aye, it's a good position to be in. I get excited with the Bradley.
He was one of the post.
Campbell came on at Motherwell, didn't he?
Yes.
Aye, Campbell looks good as well.
Aye. So anyway, Craig, what you're saying is Martin Boyle the best player outside Old Firm?
Long way to get.
No. Where I was actually going with that was Martin Boyle's an easy person to pick out of the Hibs team because he's always getting past players and all that, and he's quick. But I think there's quite a lot of people in the Hibs team that would probably argue for the role that they play, they're just as good.
Aye, it's a good shout.
And it's difficult to. It's difficult. I mean, it's easy. It's the age-old thing, isn't it? Like, a defender's never going to win the what do you call it?
Ballon d'Or.
The Ballon d'Or of that, because it's always like the kind of flair players that get past people and score goals and all that, which I understand. Like, you know what I mean? But if you're looking at it like individuals of a team, there's a lot of people in that Hibs team that I would probably argue as well that are up there with Martin Boyle.
Oh, Martin Boyle. Right, Carl says Jake Doyle-Hayes or Busquets. John.
What biscuits are we talking?
Abernethy's.
Dunkers, aye. Abernethy's.
That's not fair. They win.
All right, moving on. Strong opinion, Hibs. How impressed have you been with Doidge and his hold-up play? Very good feet and technical ability. I've been extremely impressed.
Agree. Covered that.
Yep.
Aye, that's right. Aye.
Good opinion.
Strong.
LG and Cow 456 Hibs says Martin Boyle was sexy and you can't tell me otherwise. We're not going to try and dissuade him.
Did you see Montrose's tweet wishing him a happy birthday? And it was
with the iron
Martin Boyle when he was a younger man. he's like a fine wine, let's say.
Ron Burgundy said the bar has been lifted at ER. Do you think the mindset has changed? So he's no mean somebody's chored the drinks. The standards are better at Easter Road. Is there a change of mindset?
You spoke about it earlier about Jack Ross, didn't you? Saying that they're not taking draws and losses as kind of, that it's acceptable.
I think it. So without labouring the point, we've talked about it before. But I think everything at Hibs has changed now. You look at the turnover in staff in the background. So not just the like. So there's a shift in policy with signings. Or the signings seem very deliberate and fit in a profile. But then you look at the commercial activity. It's fucking. There's deals coming out left, right, and centre. We've got Malky Mackay, Alex Jones on the screen now. What's going on? You've got like the new CEOs come in with loads of experience. They've got the media team, and that you look at the difference in the media output over the last month compared to what had gone before. And obviously, COVID's got a part to play in that as well. To be fair to the people who were there before, but I would say there's evidence to say the mindset of the entire club from top to bottom has changed for the better for us as a sport, and it all leads hopefully to us having a better team to watch. So we're happy with that answer, and we'll add to it, or will we move on?
I don't want to go into negatives about the
I want
getting emails with a ticket that doesn't have a ticket in it, so no bother.
I wanted to make a comment. There was a picture posted up of one of the fans that had met Ron Gordon prior to the game. I think it might even have been one of the ones that's on QuickBank. I can't really remember. I saw it on Twitter. But what I did notice, right, Ron's came in here and he's been part of the transformation of this club. Like, people called him Ron the Con, like, you know what I mean? Came in with all this money and nobody really knew who he was and all that. But that was set there by Leanne Dempster and all them when they knew that Hibs were being sold and they wanted to bring the right person in. All those people got in. The question I wanted to ask is, with all that money and him coming in, why he picked the shoes that he wore to the game that day, because they were awful, Ron. Like, with all that money, honestly, they were like, do you know if you see like a JK at a pub that wears like jeans and they've got they're kind of like flat-toed and they curl up a wee bit and they look like they're covered in piss and all that. With all that money, Ron, get yourself a nice pair of
get yourself into Clark's.
Could you see Ron Gordon pulling off the smart casual with white trainers look that Jack Ross is currently sporting?
I'd love to see it. I'd also like to see Jack Ross wearing Ron Gordon's clothes as well.
That's a very particular kink you've got there, John.
Everyone's got their fetish.
I think it's hard. Like, I can say this as a white-haired gentleman myself. I think it'd be harder for Ron Gordon to pull off what Jack Ross is wearing than the other way around. I think Jack Ross would still look decent putting on.
Are you saying that Jack Ross would make a bin bag look decent? Is that what we're doing?
I would say so. He's quite a well-turned-out chap, isn't he?
Aye.
I'm sending you the photo.
I'm talking on Hibs TV yesterday. Obviously, was at the game, but the wife was watching it. And she was saying the game was a bit like knocking the ball about. So I think they were starting to talk about Jack Ross's attire and how it's no Hibs gear, and he must be buying it himself and that. He must have a separate budget to go and buy
It's a closely guarded secret. When we were chatting to Greg today, I was asking him, like, where does he get his clothes? He'll not tell us. He will not tell anyone where he gets his clothes.
So if you know what it is, text 80295. Head in Jack Ross's clothes. Right, Paul Mackay says, do you think Jack Ross has been listening to John Collins about pass, move, tempo, as it seems to be foremost in our thoughts? I'm not complaining, as early doors it's got the feel of something special.
Sorry.
Who are you laughing at?
Have you just seen those shoes?
Oh my God.
There's a photo come through in the group.
The problem is, like, I think he's maybe got them out of Clark's. They're the kind of shoes that you got when you were like in your first school photos at high school.
They are chronic, eh? It's the only thing.
A wee pair of white trainers on that.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Rod. But
aye, so John Collins, pass, move, tempo, current Hibs team setting up. Are we? Well, Colin, you mentioned Jack Ross shouting, "Keep it on the deck." Was that you that brought that point up? Craig, sorry, giving you undue credit.
Thanks.
definitely evidence it again. We're not a long ball team. We're playing the ball like Sportsing highlighted nearly 20 passes in that first goal with purpose. I think it has got a feel of something special about it, but not something special with Mr. Tumble. It's on the kids' TV where he does all the signing. That would be shite for football. Different something special. TG Willis says, how impressive the PA system is. Actually hearing what the Hibs announcers are saying certainly adds to the match day experience.
What was that?
Well, Barry promised us that. Barry promised it was working, and it seemed to be yesterday sitting in the east, certainly. Thought it was like up in the west. So West used to say you couldn't hear anything up there.
Aye, well, so we were in the West Lower yesterday, but it was crystal clear. Like every word, there was nothing I missed at all from what they were saying. So,
and we're getting big tellies as well.
Big tellies are coming. That was in the announcement. But that's the other thing, that the capacity crowd is going to be available almost, apart from the no opening into the stands. But restrictions are gone, so happy days. Should be naming their ballots to bother about calling. And they did say that the big screens were about to come as well. So
until the fourth wave comes, then that's when ballots will come back in.
There was a thing, right? I kind of about how you would make this possible, or whether or not you should do it. You would need the Wi-Fi code or whatever, like to be able to tap into the big screen. But Xbox do this thing where if you can stream games to your phone, right? If you've got like an Android or an iPhone, you can stream games like for the cloud, and you can sit and play them. If you could attach a controller to your phone, and your phone's just like the screen, you can play it. I wonder if you could hack in, because somebody did it on a fridge, on an LG fridge. It had an Android panel, and they just figured out how to fucking do it, so they were playing Xbox on their fridge. I wonder if there would be a way to do it. Could at half time you could just go, fucking hack into the screen here, and on the biggest fucking screen going, you could just sit having a game of FIFA or Halo or something.
Do you know what I want? I want like an American style kiss cam, but they only pick people that obviously don't want to kiss. Like
you're saying you've got you and a seagull.
Yeah,
or like seagulls got
again.
or like a grown man and his elderly father, and then when they don't kiss and they even they make a hug, I want all the Hibs fans giving it like chucking drinks and that at them, like, you know what I mean?
That's a fucking touch of genius.
or like do you know when the what do you call them, like the big important people for the clubs, and they sit in the box and all that, but you'll have like you know Hibs people, and you'll have say the other teams people like get to them kissing all that.
You get the lassie loading their chips onto their pizza.
John Leslie's still sat up in the posh seats in the West.
The fat cam. That's what we should do. The fat cam. Fat shame people.
I'll be on it every week.
No, don't. No, just like for who's got the most food. Like, you know what I mean? Or like one of those ones. Like, do you know that? Like, do you know when you struggle to get back to your seat and that? If the cameraman's straight on you, and I was like, or
somebody get up for a pish at 25 minutes. Can they just go, wait, they can boo them like comedians do.
Big bold letters. Where are you going?
Where are you going?
Oh, can we get leaving for the traffic cam that gets switched on at 8 o'clock?
Fuck, are you going? Right, Jeff Ashton said, what about the smacker Deutsch planted on McGinn for setting up his goal? Serious bromance or unwanted sexual attention? He did as well. Like I clocked that in the highlights when they're all having their post-goal cuddle, and Deutsch definitely does give McGinn like kissing the cheek.
Is he cheating on Joe Newell? Because I know that there's a bit of a bromance going on between him and Joe Newell.
Aye, that's golf driven though. I'm never sure but golf gets involved, what the script is. But can you play golf, John? I'm no casting aspersions on you that, but I think you get golf buddies. But I think what was going on with McGinn and Deutsch was something different.
So there's golf buddies and there's one real.
It was a tender moment. That's all I think we need to say. It was a tender moment, and I think if you were to slow it down and play some romantic music, that you could. It would be a tough one, but you could probably knock one out to it. The Hibs here says, who would win a bar fight between Jack Ross and Malky Mackay?
Jack Ross, because Alex Jones definitely can't fight.
Mackay looks like he'd be quite imposing, but he's a heart attack waiting to happen, isn't he? Like
I reckon Mackay's one of these ones that sits at the corner of the bar, the same corner. They're the local, but nobody really fucking likes them. just sits there mouthing shite, quite big and all that, like, you know, looks hard and all that, speaks the hard game, but then a wee terrier like Jack Ross comes in, calm, dressed up to the nines, like, you know what I mean, like smart trainers and all that sort of stuff. One bad word says, turns around, buff, deed, out you go, fuck off. Just fucking knocked out. And the best thing about it is like the place kind of stops for that second as soon as he's connected the punch. That kind of something's going on, and then
I thought
they
he'd walked up and done the neck thing, kin, like he's doing the army, kin, like that's what you were talking about.
like, well, they've just had the. He's not savage, man, but yeah, but you know, everyone just has that one look and it's like, oh, it's Malcolm. Fuck it, carry on, just leave him.
Jack Ross is more likely to kind of just put his drink down, pick up a wee case that he's had brought in with him, like just looks like an ordinary man bag, cross the road, sneak into a building, go up, opens up the case. It's got all the different parts of a sniper rifle, and he just silence that. You just hear the glass breaking in the window. And maybe the glass breaking is Malky Mackay. He's timed it, obviously, as he's taking his whiskey to his mouth. And the bullets go that, and Malky Mackay's folds.
Yeah,
and Nib the Kens
just comes back in, finishes off his G&T, because it's definitely a G&T man.
Aye. Puts everything away, comes back down.
What do you think Jack Ross, sniper, his killer catchphrase is, like when he comes back into that bar and he delivers that cutting line? What does he say to Malky Mackay?
Take that, you cunt.
I reckon he doesn't say anything to anybody. He just looks at himself in the mirror, gives himself a wee just a wee wink, and he's like, "Shagger."
He just slips the barman a fiver. Sorry for the mess. And out he goes. Briggs, the passing and movement was very, very good. Every time we went forward, we were looking to create chances. And if truth be told, going into half time, 3-0 up did not reflect our performance in the first half, as we were certainly worthy of another goal or two. I think we said much the same. Dave Graham, Jack's White Gutties. Again, I think we've covered them. They're not staying that white all the way through the winter, though. There's no way you can be touchline and keep your trainers clean.
No, there was definitely.
Oh, I suppose it's the money's on at Hibs.
If it wasn't,
definitely a new pair every week.
If it wasn't Thursday, it was yesterday. He's taken a touch with the gutties, and he was on the pitch yesterday. And having been on the pitch before, I know that thing is soaking. So unless he's getting them in the washing machine, the tumble dryer when he gets in, they'll never last him.
Do you reckon he gets the boot boys to do them? Do you know they got the players' boots and all that? I know they don't really do that anymore. Do you reckon he's got like a wall full of gutties?
While Dougie Tripod still at the club, he's on.
Aye,
he's on trainer washing duties.
Right, Liam said the tackle in the second half from the county player in the corner. Clark with some GBH on GDH. Surely I read. So I think the GBH on JDH, that's hard to say, that was in the first half. The second half one was on Murphy, and that was a red card as well. At first I thought, boys played the ball, it's probably what saved him, but you watch it back, he's both feet off the ground jumping into that tackle. It's like
he's uncontrollable.
Studs up. It's the definition of a red card.
That was the one they showed on Sportsman, I think.
Aye.
Actually.
Vince Robinson, Jack Ross appreciation section. Worked with what he inherited, added quality selectively, played a sublime passing game, needs back to strengthen defensive cover and keep the squad together where possible.
Yeah.
We're happy with the role that Jack Ross is playing at the moment.
Aye, Ross out.
Ross out.
Standard.
We
might have won.
Bring back Lennon.
Aye, bring back Lennon.
What was the point? I know that kind of person is going to defend themselves, but I read a post on Hibs.net about Hibs being so good yesterday justified the stance that they weren't good last season. It was like, because we were good yesterday, I couldn't get my head around that.
I think to give benefit of the doubt, these are people that probably want things changed almost instantaneously, and they can't see the light at the end of the tunnel if they believe that at the time the football isn't scintillating or tantalising or whatever. They might
improving.
Even though we were winning games, they might have seen it as, we're never going to be the team that we want them to be, like the football that we're playing at the moment. Whereas, like, we were always the advocates, or always have been the advocates of, we've had 13 managers in 11 years, or whatever it is. We need to settle with somebody that we believe in, and it has to, and we have to give them time to build the team and work the team. And I think it's actually coming to fruition. So hopefully hopefully these like I don't want to be nasty about it, but hopefully like people that think like that kind of maybe take a wee step back and realise actually it's not just a bring in a manager and then we'll win everything. That's not.
I think some folk, Craig, I think you're right. I think some folk are like reading the message board. Certainly, I've not on social media or anything, but there's folk that are like you can see they're coming round a bit, and there's others that are entrenched in their view, and it's like he needs to have a good start to the season, right? He's having a good start to the season. We need to wait and see what happens in the derby, right? So it's all pinned on one game now. Like, you know what I mean? It's
so if that goes wrong,
see how he gets done in the big games, but one of these big games, well, it's the truly big games he needs to win, right? Okay, so semi-finals in the count, it's only cup finals, and you know what I mean? It's mad. It's the way that the goalposts keep moving in that way, and it's just like go and just calm down and think maybe you were a bit OTT last season, and it's maybe the right thing.
There's absolutely no shame. There's absolutely no shame in having an opinion, and then being proven wrong.
Or changing your mind.
I'm sure I'll happen to us at one point. I've yet to experience it, but I'm sure it's going to happen at some point.
Juniors asked, is Jake Doyle-Hayes on track to be the best holding midfielder we've ever had? If he keeps playing the way he is, I would say yes, but he's only 24 though, so maybe missing someone.
And he's only played 2 games.
There is a risk of getting carried away, and it's Motherwell and Ross County. He's played the European game as well, actually, and he was good in that.
He's been good, but it's 2, 3, 4 games, whatever it is, and I think let's see at the end of the season, because McGeoch and that are still, like McGeoch was quality for that couple of seasons, wasn't he? So
there's certainly indications that there's a good balance between the three of them that are in the middle just now.
What I like about Doyle-Hayes is he's one of these players that just gets on with it. Do you know, like, they're a good player. They're no fussy. They buzz about everywhere. No, that I would compare him to McGinn, but that sort of mold. McGinn didn't complain about fuck all hardly ever. He just got on with the game. Somebody kicked him, he got back up, and then just kept playing. Jake Doyle-Hayes looks at that similar kind of. I'm just going to play my game and just get on with it. I like that.
Be a good double-barreled name either, eh? Good bit, brings a bit sort of upper crust to the team.
Bit of class. I've not got it wrong yet either, which is fucking stunning. WTC 1981 said shite second half, not enough goals. Ross must go, on the con, etc. And then a wee crazy face emoji. So
Petrie, is that the only thing missing for that?
Petrie, aye, Petrie. That's that. Thanks for sending the talking points. Next game then is on Thursday night. How's that going to go, John?
Well, just to make sure, because I momentarily looked at something that said John Dal Thomas, and I thought, I remember him playing. What was the question? Was it about Thursday night's game?
Aye. What the fuck are you looking at, John Dal Thomas?
It's on. I tweeted something out about the preview.
The teammate Gordon shoes.
Double-barreled names.
Aye.
I saw today that one of the Rijeka players has doubled down on their manager's claim that Hibs were a long ball team. Says that Hibs never caused them any bother, and they fully expect to be able to qualify through the tie and then go on and win their group.
Aye.
So I sent put a tweet out saying the obligatory pin this to the wall and send the players out and say fucking go at them. I never saw anything against them. Sorry, I never saw much from them last Thursday that suggested that we were going to get a doing when we went over. I think there's a real opportunity to, like we did against Ross County, take the game to them.
Did we mention the Icelandic coach, the boy that was the team that played Aberdeen? Who he said that
we were
Aberdeen were shite. He says we'll take 2 goals off them and knock them out. I quite like that kind of confidence. I thought that was quite a good bit of trolling. I think is it Malmo? Is that who's playing Rangers?
Yeah, tomorrow night.
Their manager's been in, I think, the press today, slating them for, it's like, they're fucked if they didn't get the money for the Champions League. Eh? They really, really need it. He's just chucked that wee grenade in it. Fucking, look at the figures. They fucking need it. They've gambled on it.
Reason.
So I quite like a wee bit of that trolling. It's different when it's against your own team. You sort of think, how fucking dare you?
Makes me think. What makes me think? I'd love us to win with a big fucking long ball, a big lump up the park, scramble in the box. Aye.
Mark Moxley, Christian Deutsch, off his arse, back in it.
All interviews. What a ball that was, eh?
It's a long ball. It's a long pass.
Aye, be good to get it about them. I think they've been it's a wee bit disrespectful. I think they watched Hibs to come out with it, and then it's happened. I think why, because I thought Rijeka were second best on Thursday night last week. So I think why when you've been involved in that game, that you would come out with something like that.
Are we maybe just a wee bit kind of naive to the European style of press and the way that they kind of they do their dealings? Because this could be like a normal weekend thing for them, like like getting behind the fans. Because like that, like British, you're kind of you're probably a wee bit more kind of like, oh, we deserved it today, but the other team played really well, and they were, we're normally quite unless there's obviously something that's happened in the game.
Yeah.
Or is it our press stirring the shite? It's a bit of coincidence, as everybody we're playing against in Scotland, that our press are reporting that their manager said some shite about us.
It could be that. Brian McLaughlin, it'll be him. He's a fucking jambo.
He's making stuff up. He's got a deadline. Can't go to the press conference because of COVID, so he's just making any old shit up.
You see it right down in Croatian.
Neil Lennon had meltdown in a press conference.
What was that one I sent you the other day? Was it the Daily Record where they were talking about McGregor never even got a shout for being man of the match, and it was a clean sheet and he wasn't even fucking playing?
Aye, he wasn't even playing in the game. Mental.
Oh dear.
It's the standards that we've got in Scotland.
There was another one. What's the name of that? Is it PLZ Soccer or something? They were, I think, one of their panel had said that Kevin Nisbet had looked a bit robotic and
shite basically
in the final minutes of the game, but he'd been subbed with about 10 minutes to go and replaced.
It was with Tam McManus. Tam McManus is on it, isn't he? And I don't know if he was trying to wind Tam McManus up or that, but Tam was like, "Have you watched Hibs, eh?"
Aye.
Like, what have you been watching? I think he does it for reactions online and like that's the shame of it now. And like a lot
maybe
of it is just
they blocked us. Longbangers. They blocked us, right? There was what was the tweet? Because there's no many folk have blocked us on Longbangers. It was a fucking miracle. They tweeted something about somebody signing. Somebody signed a 2-year deal, right? But they finish all the tweets with Arnold Clark because they must sponsor them. And I thought, that's a good deal for Arnold Clark. That was my reply to the tweet. And I think that they just went block. They fucking block that cunt straight away. And so I can't see anything.
That'll be McManus. That'll be him. I bet he's behind that.
We tweeted him and asked him if he would come on the podcast, like in the early doors, and he was like, do this one. So
here, it's going to be right awkward for him when we get invited on Hibs TV. We'll be like, all right, Tam, what's happening?
Right. Remember us?
No, what I speak to us now.
Aye. Jack, get in the bag.
The only problem is if we were in the famous five, he'd have to do the run round to the fucking. Lads, come on, man, not today. It's a long way there.
Get my trainers dirty. Right. I think that'll do us for the night. Probably long enough. Thanks if you've made it to this point of the podcast. We will have short bangers this week. We've not done one because we've been playing in Europe, so we just need to figure out what night we're doing. So if you've listened to this and you've got questions for short bangers, send them in and we'll get into them as soon as we fucking can. We'll be back with a quick bang on Thursday night regardless to talk about the European game. And then on Sunday we'll do a quick bang after the Kilmarnock game as well. Restrictions are lifted, so if you want a ticket for Kilmarnock on Sunday, I dare say you'll get one. Hopefully we'll get a good crowd in there to roll the boys on to the next round of the Premier Sports Cup or something like this.
Aye, some shite.
Peter Martin.
I think it's Peter Martin Cup. I don't think it.
That's who it was that was given fucking.
The slot Kevin Nisbet for not playing.
Sorry, I've just been scrolling through all of PLZ's Twitter there. PLZ, PLZ, whatever they call themselves. And it's taken me forever to find that. So I fucking found it.
Well done. Right. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time.
County line, I pledged upon. Well, they trailed me down when I broke free. I drank all the whiskey in Tennessee. I don't drink water, no